Welcome to the Sports Card Lessons Podcast. I'm your host, Big Ken. Whether you're watching on YouTube or listening on a streaming service, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. You'll be notified whenever I drop any new content. Welcome. Thanks for being here. Happy Sunday. I hope everybody had a great weekend. Late games are just getting started, so I really want to hurry up and get through this because I want to watch my Chiefs game tonight, but I was really looking forward to catching most of that Bills Rams game. I think it was going to be a good game today. So we're going to get through this and get back to the games. It's funny how you go through a cycle with teams, right? That, the teams that get all the primetime games. And I spent my whole life watching everybody else's team in prime time, or if my Chiefs did make it to prime time, it wasn't so good. They were usually getting beat. So it's great to be able to have this time with my team in prime time. And I know there's a lot of Chiefs haters out there, but I'm just telling you, I sat through, household full of Patriot fans for many years, watching every Patriot primetime game. So it's nice. And in Dallas too, right? Those Cowboys too were prime time for many years. So happy to have my team in prime time. This is episode 42 of season 5. So there's 50 episodes in every season. So this season will be coming to an end. 8 more episodes remaining. I'm hoping to finish out this season at the end of the year and start a new season in the new year. But I plan on making a few changes. I've got some exciting things in the works. And over the next couple weeks, I'm going to share with you all the changes and what's going to be coming up in 2025 and what's going to be new here with the Sports Card Lessons podcast. So I'm excited about it, and I think you will be too. So stay tuned for that. So let's jump into today's episode. So this weekend, I had a great weekend, and it was one of those weekends, that started one way and things just kept changing. Right. And you plan, you're like, oh, I'm going to do this, and that this weekend. And, of course, Saturday morning, everything changed and it changes up your whole weekend. So that's kind of what happened to me. I made arrangements with Bill from Bill and Billy Sports Cards. He was going to come by, pick me up Saturday morning. And we're going to head up to the Enfield show. My guy Alex at Ideal Cards runs that show. It's always a great show. Always look forward to that show once a month. So I got up Saturday morning, getting ready to go. Bill called and said he was on a wait list for a table at the show, and he got a call saying that there were some tables available and he could take them. So he opted to take the tables. So he called. I said, no, you go. I'll drive up separately. And he said, look, if you want to grab, bring a showcase, you could set up at one of the tables. I said, awesome. So I grabbed my cards and just a single showcase. I had to make a decision that morning, thinking to myself if I was going to grab singles boxes and bring extra stuff up there, which I probably should have. I probably would have done very well. But as I talked about on the last episode, I wasn't even sure if I was going to make it to that show because I had something going on Saturday afternoon. So I said, you know what? Let me just grab my cards. I have 2 Zion boxes, right? So I have one that I could fit probably all my cards that I take back and forth to shows, but then I have a second one, a smaller one that's lighter, that when I'm going to walk shows, I take that one, right? I just bring so many cards in there that I think I would trade or people would be interested in buying, things like that. So I don't bring all my inventory. So for this one here, I just went back, I grabbed the second Zion box, grabbed a couple of cases, threw them in the car and headed up. There's upstairs and the downstairs at this show. We were set up downstairs right inside the front door. And I have to say, as usual, never disappoints. Traffic was consistent all day. Good foot traffic coming through there. And I know most of the people, I know most of the people that set up. I know most of the people that come to the show. And one thing I like about this show, because it's pretty north of where it's 45 minutes north. It's close to the Massachusetts border. So this is one of those shows where you see different faces showing up at this show of, drawing people out of Massachusetts and maybe just up in that area that don't get down to this area to show. So it's always nice to see, familiar faces, but it's always great to see new people too and meet new people in the hobby. I had a kid showed up at my table, my man Logan at 860 Slabs. Him and I used to do a lot of deals a few years ago, and I hadn't seen him in a long time. And all of a sudden, here he was standing in front of the table. Where you been, man? He said he stepped away from the hobby for a while, but now he's getting back into it. He had a friend with him, looked like they were, running a little business, like a little business plan. So, asked me to pull a bunch of cards, out of my case to see if I was willing to do a bulk deal with him. And like I tell everybody, basically, tell me your percentages and we can talk about each card individually because, I can't give somebody a blanket statement where they say, if I take all these cards, could you be at 85%? I don't know. I don't know what cards you're looking at. And I know what I'm into cards for. Right. And I know, the percentages I'm looking to get out, and I can't be at a flat 85%, right? Some maybe 90, some maybe 80, so maybe 87. I don't know. It just depends on what that number looks like. So we're going to talk about each card individually. That's what I need to do. If I'm into cards, some cards better than others, then percentages are going to change. Does it mean I'm not willing, right, to sell them at lower percentages than what I paid for them? And I talk about this all the time. If I've got a stale card, in my case, I'd seriously consider, moving that, at a lower percentage versus liquid cards that I would be, pretty firm at a higher percentage. So we pulled out about 8 or 9 cards out of the case, and we went through each card, and we mostly agreed on the current comps of the card, but we fell short on most with percentages that I would sell for. I did have 3 Mahomes cards in my case that I picked up just a few weeks ago at the Mohegan Sun Show. And I know I bought into those cards at about 75%. So as we were pulling back and forth through cards, these were the cards he was most interested in, and that worked for me. But I said, look, I have to be a little bit higher than 85, right? So just calculating out the prices, rounding up, things like that, it came up to about 88%, right? The comps haven't changed in 2 weeks since I bought these cards at the Mohegan Sun Show, right? So it was a nice, easy deal for me to get done, and it was an easy deal for him, and it was a deal that we both won on, right? I probably could have pushed for more. Being Mahomes, I need to be at 90% or 92%, but I don't be. I didn't need to be up there. Why? Because I bought well. I bought those cards well. I did the work up front, right? So if I buy well, the sales are easy. I don't need to fight. I don't, and you go to these shows and you see people and you get right down to a deal and somebody says, like they want to add $5 or $8 or $10. And I'm always shaking my head like why do you need to do that? Why do you need to push the envelope like that? People just try to push to get out. And it, I don't know, I think it causes some stress. I think some people enjoy doing that. Some people love that negotiation. My man Scott, right? Everybody knows Scott around here. He's a shrewd man to deal with, right? Oh, push, but he enjoys that. It's what he likes to do, right? I'm the opposite of that. Right. I'd rather make easy deals. I'd rather say, yeah, look, I bought into these at 75. I'll sell them to you at 88%. Perfect. Home run for me. Right. No worries. We didn't have to spend half an hour. These are the type of deals that I like to do. I don't have to spend a half an hour with somebody going back and forth and going up $10 and down $12 and up for it. Yeah, to me, it's not worth it. It makes for a long day at a show if you're doing something like that. Uh, I have a number of cases, I mean, a number of cards in my cases that don't have recent comps, right? So like the last public sales were a year ago. And I know for people like him and the repackers that come in and other people that come in and like to buy bulk like that, they're really just for quick flips. And these aren't the cards that they want to buy. And I understand. So this is why you pull out a couple nice cards out of the case and then you realize the last sale was a year ago on this card or over a year ago. Immediately, they're just going to push it back. They want to buy cards that have recent confirmed sales, right? Um, they want to come in and say, hey, last sold at 100. Can you be at 80? Can you be at 85? Perfect. We'll just take that one. And oh, you can't? Okay, I don't want to take it. Because they're immediately selling them upstream. They know exactly what they're getting for those cards, right? So they know what makes sense for them. So and you'll notice when these people, they come up, they'll come up to the table and they'll want to buy in bulk. I mean, they're not going to sit there and haggle with you over a card for more than 30 seconds, right? Look, the last one sold for this. Can you be here? And if you said, like, can you be at 80? I say, hey, I could be at 85 or 88. Then to them, they're either going to say yeah, or they're going to say, no, we're too far apart. Like, push it back. Because in their mind, they know exactly what their person upstream is going to pay for that card. And when I say upstream, it's their buyer who's waiting to take those cards from them, to get those liquid cards from them, and they've already said, look, this is the percentage I will buy every card at. So confirmed sale, this is what I'm going to buy at. So they know exactly what they're going to move for. So these other cards that I have, they're a tougher sale. I understand that. I know that. They'll sit in my case for a little bit longer, and three things are going to happen, right? With some of these cards is a new sale is going to pop up, right? And now it's going to be a new comp on the card. And if it's something I'm agreeable with, that I'm saying, oh, wow, that's a great comp. I can sell based off that comp, or it's going to be too low. And I'm going to be like, I'm just going to have to pull that card back if I want, or I'm going to have to go sell that card for less than what I planned on selling that card for. Or a collector is going to come up and say, I like this card. Let's just work out a deal. I'm just going to take it and put it in my PC because this particular player is a guy that I'm PCing. Or I'm going to put it up, send it out to an auction house and hope for the best, right? Send it out and let somebody auction the card. And then there becomes a public sale on that. So anybody else out there that, and I don't, the third option, I think I've done twice or three times, over the course of 4 or 5 years. So I don't do that often. But it's always an option if I want to. So after I got this deal done, a couple of dealers came over to me and they said, hey, I saw you pulled a bunch of cards out. You were working with that kid. Did you get a deal done? I said, yeah, he took some cards. And they're like, I don't know how you got a deal done, man. He was so low. He was lowballing, like, how did you sell cards? Like, what is he buying? What was he offering? Kind of accusing him of just lowballing. And I asked, when you say lowballing, was he lowballing your current price or the last confirmed sale? And one of the guys said he wanted to buy at 85%. I said, okay. Yeah, I was pretty close to 85 or just above 85. But the dealer said, that's what I buy at. Trust me, it's tough setting up at shows if you're buying at 85%, because when people come in, that's what they want to pay. Other people are coming to your table to buy because they're just flipping that same card that you bought at 85% to flip, right? And some people, I know, they just buying that card at 85% and selling it at 85%, and it's the same money. You gave the money to this person, you sold the card, and you took the same amount of money back the other side. It's a lot of work for nothing, right? So if you're buying at 85% and you're thinking you can sell it higher than 85%, you're probably going to have to hang on to the card for a while and hope for the value to go up, and hope that the value doesn't go down on the card, because you could lose faster than you could win on something like that. when I'm working on a deal with somebody, that somebody shows up at my table and says, "Look, I'm selling cards." Um, I'll tell them right away when I'm looking, like, "Yeah, I'm buying." But I have to sell at 85%, so I can't buy from you at 85%. That's what I plan on selling the card for. So we could talk about we could try to get a deal done if there's something in here that I like and you're willing to go lower, but if you need to be at 85% or higher, then that's okay. You know? Um, I don't wanna make my day harder. I don't wanna buy a card at 85% and really try to get 90% from it for whatever the 5% would be, because the dollar amount of these cards, 5% is not a lot to put that much work in, and if like I said, if you buy well, sales are easy, right? And if you're not buying well or you're buying cards that are on their way down, those sales get really hard. And I get told no a lot more than I get told yes when I'm buying. And I completely understand. I don't get upset. And I think whoever is, I thank them, right? People come, I say, and they say, no, I have to be, I'm higher than 85%, or I'm not going to sell below that or something. I appreciate you. Thanks for, giving me the opportunity. I completely understand. Completely understand. You know, I wanna make it as pleasant experience as possible, because that person could walk around the room, and this has happened to me before, and they come back at the end and they'll say, "Hey, you wanna look through my," like, I could probably be a little lower on some of them, go through and see if there's something you like in there. So, fine. Why did they come back to me? Because I just made it a great experience. I was like, "Hey, man, I understand. Thanks for coming. You change your mind, come," anything, right? I'll make it a great experience. I would rather people say, "Yeah, I dealt with that guy over there. It was just a great experience," right? I don't wanna be the guy people say, "I can't stand trying to do a deal with that guy," right? You don't wanna be that guy at the show. At the Mohegan Sun show, I bought, this Tom Brady card. It came in the bulk deal, with the Mahomes cards. It's a 2017 Donruss Optic Tom Brady orange, numbered to 199, PSA 10. I'm holding it up, and you can see I still have my price sticker on it. Um, so I bought this card in the deal. Um, I labeled the card, I repackaged it at Mohegan Sun. I put a price on it, and I threw it in my case at the show. So setting up last minute, I grabbed all my cards Saturday morning. Um, I didn't spend any time like I would normally do the night before pricing all my cards out like I do for any show that I'm setting up. So this was kind of a surprise setup. So I took my cards, and most of the prices, my price tags, from the Mohegan show a few weeks ago are still pretty close. After I kind of got set up, there's a number of players, like I know some of the Caitlin Clark cards are, going up and down. So and still very hot at these shows. So I want to make sure those prices are spot on if somebody's coming and looking. But I didn't really take the time to price out all the cards in my cases. Um, and I know the price tags are really just a starting point, right? It doesn't matter what I price on those cards. That's just really giving the person walking by just a better idea of where I am, compared to comps and what the value is on the card. Um, Everybody's still going to look up the price and you're going to make an offer, whatever they think is fair, and that's when we start negotiating on a card, right? And that's what happens most of the time. So this guy came up to my table. He looked at this Brady card. He took a picture of it and he walked away. Okay. He came back like 15 minutes later with another guy. He pointed to the card. They were having a conversation. I really didn't know what they were saying. And he was showing him something on his phone. Now, I could tell by the facial expressions and the body language that he wasn't happy at all. So I said, "Are you looking at the Brady?" He said, "Yeah, I like the card, but I'm not buying this one." I said, "Oh, why not?" He said, "You're way too high." He said, "I'll go find one online and buy it there." And I said, "That's a super low pop card." And he said, "It's not worth what you're asking for." And he just walked away, just started walking away. I was like, what's going on? So I came out from behind the table. I take my phone out. I said, maybe did I comp this card wrong? I'm thinking to myself, how could I be that far off? So I'm looking at the card. I comp the card. I pull the price up and I thought to myself, oh, I think he's right. I am a little high on this card. I know what I paid for the card at Mohegan. I remember what I paid for almost every card. And I'm not sure where I came up with the 250 price on this card. I had it like you saw, I just had it stickered at 250. Now there's the last 3 comps uh on this card, and it's a pop 9. $125 May 2024, $200 March 2024, and $150 May 2020. So 3 public sales over 4 years. So as I'm standing there in front of my own case with my phone out, copying the card, he walked back up to me and he said, "Do you see what I'm talking about?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "Absolutely." I held my phone up and just started to say, "It is a pop 9." And he snapped at me saying, "This card has never been 250," and walked away. I was about to explain to him that I did have it priced high and he was right. But at this point, with that attitude, I'd rather sell the card to somebody else who would appreciate the card. Um, and I think people get confused with alt, right? Now, I may have had this card priced high, maybe not. It's rare and scarce, right? It's a pop 9 card. There's only been 3 sales in 4 years, publicly. So at that point, I could probably ask 250. It's probably more of a 175 card, maybe in that area. Um, but if you look up on alt, right? If there's been a lot of public sales on a card, alt is pretty good. The alt value is pretty good. Like if there's been enough, they'll take the average and their price up there is pretty good. I mean, we all see that price when you look it up, but then we're going down to look at, confirmed sales. But on a card like this that only has 3 sold publicly in over 4 years, it shows the value of this card at $89. So I don't know if somebody like this gentleman who came up who sees alt's value at 89 and then think maybe he should ask 80% or 85% of the $89, not really putting together that only 3 of these things have sold in 4 years. And the last one that did sell was back in May, right, for $125. So, again, this card could be a $100 card, it could be a 200 card, depends on who's buying the card, right? And it depends on who's selling the card. Um, I think we need to relax. Just talk to people at shows, right? Just talk to people. Most of us do. I mean, 99% of the time on a card like this, somebody would have pointed out the same thing. They would have pulled up the sales. They would have showed me their phone. I would have pulled it up. We would have talked about the pop, the low pop, the rarity, the scarcity, the this, the that. But I know what I paid for the card, and I know what makes sense for me to sell that card at, right? And we probably will work out a deal because if I bought the card well enough, I can make an easy sale on it, right? Um, and as far as me pricing this a little higher than I should, this stuff happens. In my own defense, I had a lot going on at Mohegan Sun. I just bought a 7-card lot. I was trying to get them into my case. I was trying to talk with customers. I'm trying to put price tags on. Um, all you have to do is ask, make an offer on a card, right? No need to get upset. On Sunday, I got up and I went to the Orange Show in Orange, Connecticut, another local show here in Connecticut. Um, I went through the doors. They have a new they used to have an upstairs. They added a downstairs. They put like 15 or 20 tables downstairs, so there's some new dealers down there. Um, I walked through. I said, "Let me check out the lower level first." First table I came up to. I look in the case, uh, and I see a card I've been trying to buy online, and it's just sitting there in the case, right? It's just Juju Watkins, New Waves, PSA 10. I have the gold version of this out at PSA, numbered to 50. I've been trying to buy. They're different types of these cards, but they're all short prints. I've been trying to find this one in a PSA 10. And the best part about it, the sticker price on this card was half of what I've been offering people online. And they've been turning me down because this card's been selling for much more than it was. So here, she's one of the best, hottest players in the country right now, and here, prices of hers from uh, September and October. Here we are in December, have doubled, tripled. Those prices are just continuously going up and up and up. A lot like the Caitlin Clark effect with the cards. I didn't want to seem too excited, but I bought that card immediately. And actually, I did a deal because I bought two cards. I also bought this Juju Watkins. It's the fuchsia blue swirl, and this one's numbered to 125. So this is a PSA 8. I think this got a tough grade. I don't know. You know what? It's a card that I'd say I could probably crack and send back, but I don't know. I've heard a lot of rumors of PSA with these numbered cards that no matter what they are, if it's in their database, they're just sending it back the same. If anybody has information on that, confirmed information, please leave a message or let me know. Reach out to me. I don't know if it's worth taking the time to try to get a better grade on this card. Being a numbered card, but let me know. I always feel with these smaller local shows that if I don't show up by 8:30, the dealers have already picked through all the other dealers' stuff, that there's really nothing great left to buy, right? I get this in my mind. You show up and I see these other dealers and they're like, "Oh, look what I got. Look what I picked up. I'm like, "Where'd you get this?" "Oh, so and so was selling, or so and so was selling," right? So those are the benefits when you're a dealer and you show up early, right? But being in the women's basketball lane, right? Cards like this, they'll wait for me to show up. There's not a lot of buyers for these cards. So I can sleep in and casually show up to the show at 10:30 in the morning, and I'll still find great deals on cards like this. So it's the only, or not the only, but one of the bonuses of being in a lane that a lot of people don't know a lot about just yet. And this, when I go to shows, look, these are the cards I'm trying to buy. I'm hoping to buy. I'm hoping to find at these shows, because there's not a lot of people buying these shows, so I can these cards, so I can generally get pretty good deals on it. People are excited when they have these cards and they see me show up. One of my other favorite pickups this week came to a Facebook group. It is, there you are. It is this Kiki Rice Blue Ray Wave Refractor, PSA 10. It's a color match, and it is numbered to 199. I picked that up in a Facebook group. And in fact, somebody in another Facebook group that just bought a bulk of cards that I'm waiting to arrive. So I'm excited to get those as well. And I also received an order back from SGC. So just going off of the last episode, I sent an order to SGC and PSA in the same day. I took the packages, I went to the post office, I dropped them both at the post office at the same time. So this order from SGC literally was delivered today on Sunday, was delivered today. to my door. The PSA order has arrived at PSA, but hasn't even been checked in yet. Not even checked in yet at PSA. So here's a difference in timing that I'm talking about. Like if you need to get some cards back or you want to get them back, um, you know, I'm gonna go through some of these cards and I'm gonna explain it, like why it was important for me to send to SGC and not to PSA. Um, so these cards here are a little different. So these 4 cards, all Juju Watkins, I felt would never gem at PSA. I looked at them. There's no way they're going to be 10s, hoping for 9s, but I would be upset if I got 8s on them. So I didn't want to take the chance of sending them out to PSA and waiting, a month, 6 weeks for them to come back and just be horribly low grades. So I get these back in a couple weeks, right? So this is the Juju Watkins autograph. It was an 8.5, and if you're watching on YouTube, you can see there's just a grade. There's no auto grade on there, so the auto is not a 10. So you could tell with SGC, they looked at this auto and they determined that is not a 10, so they're not putting a grade in for that. And I'll show you a card in a minute that did get a grade for an auto. So that was an 8.5. This was a 9.5, which I'm very surprised. And these two are 10s, which I'm super surprised that these two came back 10s. And I don't say that to knock SGC, because something I talked about last week with cards that have known marks or print lines or things like that. Some of these cards could be that, right? Some of these cards could be those cards that I'm seeing something on there saying, oh, this is never going to gem, right? And I've quickly sent them to SGC, and now all of a sudden they come back 10s. It makes me say, now wait a minute. Like why did they gem this? I mean, I can clearly see there. So now it forces me, not force me, but it encourages me. How's that? Encourages me to go back and look at other ones of these, and what I'm seeing on here, are they on the PSA 10s too? Would this have gemmed? Would this have had the opportunity to gem at PSA? Possibly, right? The rest of these cards here that came back, pretty much what I expected. Like this, here's a patch card here, right? And these cards are thick cards, right? So you're grading 8 corners and not 4 corners, and they're so tough to grade. Awesome patch. I mean, look at that. There's Leah Edwards. I'm gonna hold that up again. Look at that patch. And this card is numbered to 5, right? To 25. This card's numbered to 25, but just an unbelievable patch. So it's something I think, if there's a Leah Edwards collector out there, right? So timing wise on these cards I'm going to show you, I wanted to get these cards back faster because I wanted to get them to market faster. I wanted to get them graded and get them to market, because there's a small window of opportunity to sell these cards, because when the WNBA Prism comes out, right, nobody's going to be looking for the Select or the Origins. So I'm hoping to take these really great looking and numbered cards and autograph cards from Select and Origins and try to move them before Prism comes out. This is Arike Ungawali. This is a black gold Prism auto, numbered 1 of 5. So this one here, you see the grade on it says 10, 9.5. So the 10 is the auto grade. So here they deemed that auto is a 10. So they'll put that grade on. If it wasn't, there'd only be the card grade itself. Lisa Leslie, it's another auto, and they graded the auto a 10. The card's a 9.5. Brianna Jones, courtside action signatures. I think this was this numbered? This was not numbered, but again, a 9 with a 10 auto. Another Aaliyah Edwards. This one was numbered to 99, and it's autoed, but you look, this card only came back at 8.5, right? No auto grade. So this card, another thick card, 8 corners. it's a great looking card. It's a numbered card. It's auto, but just the card was beat up. So I think that was a realistic grade on that card, an 8.5. So here's another. This was just a regular signatures, Aaliyah Edwards, with the auto still. Like, I don't know if she knows how to sign her own name on these cards, because none of her autos gemmed, right? None of her cards got an auto grade on it. But this card came back a 10. And last, this was Camila Cardoso. This is another one. This is an RPA, auto memorabilia card. And this was a 9.5 with a 10 auto. So again, these are perfect examples of cards that I'll send to SGC, that they're great looking cards, right? They've got some good value to them. We can get them encapsulated, I can get them graded, and I can get them out to the market before the next box, the Prism stuff drops. So people who are collecting now, I'll get them out at shows. I'll put them up on eBay. I'll put them in the women's basketball groups, and I'll get those sold. Because a lot of times the people don't mind, the SGC stuff, not as much as like with football and stuff. When you go to some of these shows where people are like, "Oh, SGC, I have to crack that out immediately and send it to PSA," type of attitude. So that's it. It's all I got for you today. I'm excited to go watch some football right now, and I'll be back with a new episode later in the week. I want to thank everyone for tuning in, and if you like what you hear, please definitely subscribe, and most importantly, tell a friend and spread the word. Until next time, take care of yourselves and everyone around you.